Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be able to share with you all the work I've been doing on Carnac. I've taken on some of Professor Tom's study. He started, Professor Tom, who most of you must know about, did quite a lot of surveys in Carnac, but he was 76 when he went there for the first time, and so it was pretty difficult for him to go a lot further. So we'll be seeing quite a lot of Professor Tom's plans, which are fantastic plans, and without his work, I would never have been able to do the study I've been doing. So this is an aerial view of the alignments. I'm going to start, first of all, with a few images. This is the Lumenick West alignments in Carnac. The Carnac alignments, today there are more than still standing over 3,000 stones in alignments. This is a sunrise along those alignments, one full moon after spring equinox on the 21st of April. Now I'm going to try and talk in 1 hour on these 9 subjects which are coming up here, so I'm going to be going quite fast. We'll be talking about, first of all, a general view of the alignments, a few ideas about what is sacred space, and then details of different sections of the alignments, Lumenick West, Lumenick East, the Tumulus Saint-Michel, and the relationship between Lumenick and the next series, which is Kermario, the Kermario West and Summer Solstice, and then I'll be talking about Newgrange, Knowth and Douth, and Long Meg and Castlerig, and showing how the geometry which has been used in Carnac can also be found in these sites. So let's get started. First of all, I'll position Carnac. There you can see the south of England and Brittany. The Carnac alignments are situated in a very densely populated megalithic area in southern Brittany. Here it is in a zoom, and the Carnac alignments are here. So there are officially three series of alignments which are called Lumenick, West and East, Kermario, which are here, Kermario here, and Kerliscan, Le Petit Menec here. That's 4 kilometers approximately, 4 kilometers long. Firstly, the Lumenick alignments. I'll be going into quite some detail on the organization of these alignments. Then the Kermario alignments. I'll be showing that there are 2 major axes which were used to build these alignments. And the Kermario alignments we'll see are aligned towards sunrise. If you look in one direction, it's sunrise at summer solstice. So if anybody's coming to Brittany this summer, we'll be going to see that sunrise along those alignments. Or if you look in the other direction, then you get the sunset on winter solstice, which is what you see here. So here's another view of the Kermario alignments. They're very big stones. There's a dolmen at the beginning, which we'll be looking at. You can see how big. I was saying my wife is quite small, so she's good to make the stones look very big. But they are very big stones. Some of the stones in Brittany, the largest is a massive standing stone, 350 tons. But in the alignments, there are stones weighing 77 tons, for example. The third part of the alignments is called Kerliscan Le Petit Menec. It's got 2 names because it's been divided into 2 by a road. So the left-hand part here is called Kerliscan. The right-hand part, which is on a curve, is called Le Petit Menec. These alignments are on an east-west angle. And they have a perpendicular line at the beginning, which is north-south, but I won't have time today to go into detail on this site, unfortunately. Now, I'd like just to say 1 or 2 words about the notions of sacred space. The idea that I want to say is, firstly, there is no possible existence of an external sacred space if there is no idea of an inner sacred space. An external sacred space must necessarily be a representation of something which exists inside the human soul. Otherwise, there would be no reason to do it. There would be no reason to build it if it wasn't a representation of something which had some inner reality. And that's why man is sometimes shown as here, as a geometrical being. Here we can see his body is a square and his head is one of the shapes of Professor Tom's eggs, what he called the flattened circle. Here's another one. See how the square, which is the body, is divided into 9 parts with a central square, and the head again is oval. So if we look at the idea of the basic sacred shapes, of course, there's the circle, which is linked to the heavens. Everything in the heavens is circular. Things all move in circles, and they look circular. And circles can't be orientated. Whereas if we come onto the earth, then the earthly representation of the circle is the square, and that introduces the right angle, the 4 cardinal directions, and that is something which is very linked to our society. I mean, if you look around you, count the number of right angles. They started at one particular point somewhere. Someone introduced the first right angle. Because before that, when men were nomads, or when humans were nomads, they circulated. They lived in round houses, like Mongols live in yurts, and Eskimos live in igloos. They live in round shapes. Pygmies live in round shapes. And when we started putting squares on things, then we stopped moving. And that's a very important point. In the square here, I've put the Kerliscon stone enclosure. At the beginning of the Kerliscon alignments, there is a square stone enclosure. After the square, we then have the double square. So if the square is the representation of God on earth, if you could say it like that, or the heavens on earth, the double square is the temple. Now, the monument I'm showing here is a tumulus Saint-Michel. I'll be coming back to that, but that is a double square with rounded sides. It's twice as long as it is wide, twice as long as wide. Now, after the double square, we get the triple square, which is the square plus the double square. You see here I've put an angle. I'll be using this fact that when we do a diagonal here, this gives us an angle. And it also gives us a root number on the diagonal. Now, root numbers are what are called irrational numbers, and we don't like those. Nobody likes square roots, because you can't sort of, take them in. And what I'll be showing is how, in prehistoric times, the Carnac builders actually got round the problem of square roots and made them acceptable. So this triple square is the basis of the Carnac, the first part, Lumenick alignments. What you have to realize is that all the pictures I'll be showing you are perfectly orientated on the north-south axis. You have north-south here. So this is a north-south triple square, and the angle of the alignments goes along the diagonal of that triple square, and I'll be going into detail on that. A very important point is the fact that you can then make the next shape, which is a 3-4-5 triangle, by putting 2 triple squares, a horizontal one and a vertical one end to end, a horizontal triple square, vertical triple square. That gives you the 3-4-5 triangle. And by doing that, you double the angle. This is a very little known fact. The angle here is 18.435, and you double it here. The 345 has a 36.87. It's not an approximate double, it's a perfect double. This is rounded, but you could go to 100 decimal places, and it's a perfect double of the angle. And we'll see that this was a key to the building of the Carnac alignments. So before we go to Carnac, just a few examples of sacred architecture which are very well known. We'll start with the pyramids and the King's Chamber. The King's Chamber, as you can see, is a perfect geometrical shape, and it's been set in the largest building on the earth, which means it hasn't moved. And if we see how that's done, I think Mattila Geiker